What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders Awakened. With the latest CDT update with builder pets coming into the game, there is no doubt you might want to farm you up some of these EdE Corgis. Of course, this is the higher end builder pet, and there is some pretty good ones out there. Now remember, you're going to want to farm these on the highest difficulty you can. This is the wave 350 pet. So it's going to drop at wave 350 and then every 5 waves after, as long as you have a bonus difficulty selected. Now the bonus difficulties, of course, will allow us to farm on any map that we want, as, you know, the rewards from the chest are going to be affected by the bonus difficulty. So with that in mind, I've been poking around a little bit with Aramir, trying to find some quick runners, and Aramir popped on to old Ogre Well, and we started working on this one to figure it out. Now, there's lots of go-to maps here. Ancient Mines, of course, you can farm a rock pet at the same time, which is pretty awesome. The go-to for most people has been Foundries and Forges. However, remember, since the quality of the chest is all going to be determined by the bonus difficulty, the faster you can run the waves, the more Corgis you're going to get. So let's hop on into Deeper Well, and this one is just disgustingly fast. In fact, you can get a Corgi about every 6 minutes or so for quite some time without resetting, and the build is strong enough to run for a long time. Well over wave 500 if you want to do a super long grinder. So we're going to hop into Deeper Well. We're going to do a wave 346 start. That way we get our Corgi, and we are, of course, going to put it on Dune Eater bonus difficulty. Let's hop on in and get things started. Now, as I may or may not have mentioned, I can't remember, this is a high stat build. So it may or may not work out for you. This is not a guide. It's more a, this is what I've been doing, and if you want super fast Corgis, this might be what you should do as well. Now, a couple of things to note. This is a very 2-player friendly build with 2 striking gemstones. I'm not going to be using 2 striking gemstones. I'm only going to be using 1. So with that in mind, we're not going to be getting the full range of a bunch of the defenses. Another important thing to note right out front is you absolutely cannot use the gas trap rune. Do not use Noxious Fumes. It will completely brick the entire build, and the build will instantly fail. So there we go. So we're going to start things off coming right out to the point here. We're going to go with an Ensnare Aura and Electric Aura. Now, this is the stack that I personally am going with striking. If you have 2 players or are using 2 striking gemstones, then, of course, you can just stack all this stuff up. But I want to be conscious as to what's being placed there, is I want to make sure these things get striking. Now, we are going to have one thing that's off from the striking. We got a gas trap and explosive trap there as well. And that is, I'm going to throw a mushroom, of all things, right there on top of it. So let's go ahead and get an Enrage Jar down. Let's get a root placed. Let's get it, we can go ahead and put it up there relatively close. Now remember, the Enrage Jar and the root, those are things that you would want striking on as well. However, we are not, you know, we're not going to use 2 striking. So there will be an RNG element, as I'm going to throw that mushroom right there on top of that stack. We're going to go with 3 mushrooms overall right here. Now we want to go ahead and place our buff beam, just a real itty bitty one down below here, right on top of the root, to make sure we're hitting the root and all of the auras and goodies. And then we can, actually, you know what? We can place it up top here. I just want to be careful, because the root is not, it's not super important that the root has it. I do want that shroom to get it, though. And then now in in true fashion, we screaming owls. The owls, of course, have been very, very strong. We're going to throw 2 owls on the rail right next to those shrooms. Now, if you don't put the shrooms on those little flat parts, there will be some wonky firing, and they will shoot into the rails quite often. We're going to throw a buff beam on each one of these. We want to be conscious not to get too close to the front here, as we're going to be putting some more stuff up front there after. So let's go ahead and get our 2 buff beams down, and then now we want to sneak into spiders. Now the deal with the spiders is we don't want them getting hit by either of the buff beams. I don't want to affect the overdrive rune at all by adding it too close to any of those buff beams, so we're going to throw our spiders something like that. In addition to that, we're going to throw a siren in, which we don't need on a buff beam either. And then that's going to leave us enough to put one more beefy boy owl on an overcharge by itself right here in the back. So we're going to go ahead and get that as close up in there as we can. And then I'm going to put the buff beam just to the outside of it. That way it's not hitting the siren. So once we get everything upgraded, we will be good to go. Like I said, the loot is the same, and the main benefit is you get just ridiculous wave clear times. So with that in mind, you're going to be just screaming through to get owls. Now this build is intended to be more of a longer duration run. If you're just wanting to cycle through and do, like, you know, say to get to like 370 or 375 or whatever, just to get a few corgis and then restart it. Of course, every wave that you run, it does take a little bit longer to get done. So if you're looking for the super fast corgis, you're going to want to refresh this every, say, 4 or 5 corgi drops. And if you're doing that, you don't need this much crowd control. Here we got spiders, we got ensnare auras, we got gas traps, and we got the shrooms. So we got a ridiculous amount of CC that is not required at wave 350. So with that in mind, you can make the waves run even quicker as you can put in more owls. So if you get rid of, say, both of the, or all 3 of the mushrooms, that's 1 more owl. Additionally, you could keep a couple of mushrooms and get rid of, like, the gas trap. And then if you do get rid of the gas trap, there's one important thing you're going to want to do, and that is put a 1DU reflect beam right across this side. The reason being is there are some mages that come out of this lane and like to zerg down and start throwing at the core. So if the mages zerg down and start slinging at the core, it's going to be a 1-tap. You know, you're going to lose right away. So get that reflect beam in. However, this is the build I've been running with as far as the AFK and chill factor solo. As I mentioned, it's even more powerful with 2 players. What you would want to do with 2 players is you would have the second summoner use, basically you want 2 striking gemstones, 1 speedy gemstone, and 1 powerful gemstone. So the second player, assuming you are using a speedy and a striking, you would want the second player to use a striking and a powerful. Now, as you see, I moved around a little bit. I wanted to make sure I was hitting, at a minimum, the electric aura, both of those traps, and then the 4th striking right now is going to the mushroom, which is actually not exactly how I want it. So let me try moving around a little bit more and see if we can't pick up something else. See, that time we swapped the ensnare and the electric aura. Pretty easy to see what's getting buffed even in the middle of this mess. As, you know, you can just go into Overlord mode and zoom out. Alright, we're going to go with it like that. Ideally, you would have the ensnare, the electric, and both traps. We have got the mushroom is in the mix too, but we're not going to sweat it on that. And we're just going to set it up and get ready to boost it out. Before that, of course, we do want to make sure, one quick more double check, make sure everything is upgraded. It is. And away we go. So, of course, we're just going to sit here and flash heal. By flash healing, then we're going to be getting that boost because of the rune. Now, if you're having problems with these spiders creeping up on you, you can always put that one solo owl on the inside and put the siren on the outside. The siren will be a little bit tankier of a target than that owl is, just in case the spiders do creep up on you. The explosive traps are going to blow those out. It's just a matter of, just waiting and let it do its thing. And, yeah, let's just see how long it takes to get us a Corgi here. And, we'll just chillax it out and sit here and boost. So that's the beauty of it, of course. Most people that play Survival and Dungeon Defenders Awakened are very much aware of the chill boost builds, and this one is going to be right in there. We're just at the 1 minute mark right now for how long the wave's been running, so it is running super, super fast. And we're blasting. Like I said, they do run a little bit quicker if you get rid of some of the crowd control and add in more owls. More owls, of course, is more damage. And let's see, we're at about, well, we're just over 1 minute and 15 seconds to get this one done. So we're going to be right in between like the 6 and 7 minute mark as far as how long it takes to get us a Corgi drop. So super, super quick. Like the Magus Quarters build that I streamed the other day, I was resetting the build when I got to a point where I was getting a Corgi, or when I passed the point of getting a Corgi every 30 minutes. So it's a big difference from that. Getting a Corgi every 6 to 7 minutes is just crazy, crazy fast. In fact, even when you get it all the way up to like wave 500, it's still a Corgi like every 10, 11 minutes. It's just super, super quick. As I mentioned, if you're going to reset it, don't use so much crowd control. You just don't need it all. And everything will still get blasted out. It'll actually get blasted out much, much quicker for you if you don't have any CC. I wanted to throw this all in with all the CC just to kind of show what I've been doing. And actually, I had the wave 100 unlock on this map, but didn't go higher than that. So I did the damage variant of the build without so much CC to get up to 350 for the wave 346 starts. And the waves run crazy fast when you're in those lower waves that are like, say, 100 to 250. The waves are running in like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. It's just stupid, stupid quick. Now, of course, a big part of that is you got the crazy low mob count where the other maps, or a lot of the other maps, at wave 348 here where we're at, would have, 1,500, 2,000 mobs. So we got super low mob counts. We're going to get the same quality of Corgi. Now, the downside would be the other items we're farming. We're not getting a bunch of, we get a couple of random accessories here and there. We're not getting a ton of really high-quality armor pieces. And the pet, as it stands currently, is not necessarily a hot item. Of course, you will get that golden griffin variant dropping along with that. So if you get a really good one, keep it around because, you never know. Those pets could be revisited and changed down the road. So the pets that are kind of junkers now may end up turning into something good later on. But yeah, let's just keep on blasting. Less than 500 mobs a wave here solo, so pretty crazy good and fast to get through this one, no doubt. As far as the overall run, since we started anyway, of course I slow rolled the build to explain everything. We're about 4 minutes in, or just over 4 minutes into the run since we started the first wave. And we're almost done with 348. So yeah, this will be like 6 to 7 minutes. Super quick Corgi farm. And in fact, this is probably going to be my go-to grinder for a while. I've actually tightened up my loot filter. Of course, when we started off getting the builder Corgis and the EdEs, I started off looting every one of them because, builder stats. I didn't have any pets with builder stats before. so everything was good. Now I've got that limited to godly or higher. I have yet to see a supreme yet, but I can confirm they do drop. Aramir found one. Lucky SOB. But, yeah. So Aramir did get him a supreme one, so they do exist. And they're quite beast. I'll see if I can't get a screenshot of his and slap it up on screen. The jealousy runs deep. One day I'll get a supreme, of course. But I just don't have one yet. They're going to be crazy rare, and I farmed a ton of these Corgis already. And have not seen one. So they're definitely just super, super rare. So, continuing the blast here. We're, coming up? We're actually coming up on 6 minutes since we started it. But this, of course, is also the, the CC variant. You can swap it around and use different stuff however you want. I think the basics of the build is pretty solid. We got map-wide auras. The second something spawns, it's instantly getting slapped by explosive traps. And electric auras, which is just a tremendous amount of damage. And crowd control when you look at all the CC in the mix. And you can just get this bad boy absolutely screaming. So we're running through here on our final Corgi wave. And let's see what we get. Maybe I'll have a little luck here and get myself a super shiny Corgi. I did push this exact build over wave 500. However, I've yet to get any, the golden Douglas is only a 5% drop at 500 plus. So I have not seen one of those yet. I do have one from prior to the drop chance reduction, when it was a guaranteed drop at 500. However, the hottest of the Corgis is, in my opinion anyway, no doubt the EdE. It's the only builder stat Corgi. It's one of 2 builder stat pets in the entirety of the game. So, yeah, go get you some EdEs, y'all. They are just absolutely incredible. As far as just farming the 346 starts here, I'm not really sure what the minimum stats would be to get this done. I would assume probably around 12 or 13,000 main stat to do Dune Eater difficulty. Now, of course, you can do this on a lower difficulty, and it's just easy peasy lemon squeezy. But here we go, and here is our Corgis. Where are we? So we got a Junker EdE that time, but I say a Junker EdE, and it's still 1,000 power, range, and rate, so not a bad thing. And you're definitely going to want to add some of these guys into the mix. Of course, you get all of the previous Corgis as well, so all the Corgis that drop at 250, 300, and 350, those are all going to be in the pool, but the EdE here is the one you're looking for. But there we go, y'all. Super easy and, well, super fast, crazy fast Corgi farm that can just get your Corgis pumping. You want as many looks at Corgi drops as you can have. So maximizing the amount of looks per hour is without a doubt the way to go. Looking at it this way, we're getting, 8 to 9 Corgi drops per hour, which is just absolutely incredible. So anyway, that will get it for this one. Thanks an absolute ton for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all next time. Take it easy.